Hi, my name is Mark. I'm going to give you a quick overview here of the Dragon Eye Speed Laser from Dragon Eye Technologies. First of all, the Dragon Eye Speed Laser comes in its own hard case, hard storage case, this guy here, with pre-cut foam inside for the laser, and also if you get the optional shoulder stock for the shoulder stock there, and a couple batteries, space for a couple batteries. And this is the Dragon Eye Speed Laser. It's full-sized vertical grip. The grip is non-removable, and the batteries just go inside there. It uses two C-size batteries, and they're just standard alkalines, or you can use rechargeables, whichever works for you. The normal version of the Speed Laser comes with the standard rubberized plastic grip. Little details on this one: it has a full stop right there, so no matter how hard you crank it, you really can't over torque it. Some of the ones I've seen before, if you really crank it, you can actually crack it. But this one has a full hard stop on it, which is great. It also helps do a bit better weather seal. You'll notice that this does not have a tripod thread on the bottom though. So if you need a tripod thread on the bottom, you can buy the optional anodized aluminum, machined aluminum base for the grip, and it just simply screws on. And then that gives you ability to put a tripod on the bottom. Load a couple batteries, put on the tripod grip. I personally like the tripod grip because I find it helps balance it a bit more. It lowers the center of gravity a bit. So you can use, if you have a 90-degree head on your tripod, these are the 1/4 inch 20 pitch thread screw sockets there. So you can use a tripod horizontally. I like to use mine on the bottom when I was using LiDAR, so I find it much easier to do it that way. So this is a really good option for you. So let's just go through this quickly. This is it's a glass reinforced nylon housing, so it's a very tough housing. It's not metal, but it is very tough. The big thing with these LiDAR units, the Dragon Eye, they've got a couple of main features. The first one is the heads-up display glass, the reticle, and the laser transmitter and receiver are all on one metal chassis inside. So a lot of it's a big difference from some of our other brands. And the reason that this is important is if you drop or bang the laser, which we know happens on a regular basis, the way people flag people over and put the laser down and get hit by cars and stuff, the laser transmitter receiver assembly can go out of alignment from the heads-up display. So why that's critical is if you're looking at a vehicle 700 or 800 or 900 meters away, you think you're tracking the vehicle in the slow lane because that's where you're aiming your reticle, but the laser is actually misaligned by a couple degrees, so it's really tracking the vehicle in the fast lane. It's kind of like a rifle with a scope that's out of alignment by a couple inches, or a couple degrees rather. So some of the manufacturers, most of the other manufacturers, have the laser assembly on one frame and the heads-up display mounted on the top. That is not the case with Dragon Eye. If you look carefully inside, which I can't really show you with this camera, unfortunately, you can see the heads-up display. It goes through the top chassis and it goes down to an aluminum frame in the middle. So if you do get this thing banged and something shifts inside, all three elements, the three critical elements, the heads-up display, the transmitter, and the receiver, are going to shift together. So it may be out of alignment with the case by a degree or a half a degree, but the critical thing is it won't be out of alignment with the heads-up display. So that's one key feature with these. The other is the anti-jamming. So Dragon Eye works very, very hard on their firmware, their software in the gun, and it affects both this gun and their other guns. To defeat laser jammers. Now, some people see a lot of laser jammers, some people don't, but we're seeing that they're becoming a little bit more prevalent, especially now in higher end cars. And they're obviously put on aftermarket. Some people build them as parking sensors, and sometimes they're actually sold as laser parking sensors, but they all have a a LiDAR gun defeating mode as well, and they also act as a LiDAR detector. So this is the only gun on the market that has extremely advanced anti-jamming features, and there are a number of different resources that we can put you in touch with to back that up. So on-off button is simply the trigger. Just pull the trigger. It'll go through a 30-second self-test. It takes about 30 seconds. And that's just going to check the various firmware and internal temperature and voltages and things like that. And here it goes, almost done. And that's it. So now it's ready to go. So that only took 10 or 15 seconds. On the back, it has a distance mode. So right now we're in speed mode, because you see it says kilometers an hour or meters. I can go to distance mode, so it just says meters, so you can measure things without having it wait to lock onto a speed. And this is the menu button. This is the self-test button. It's the weather button, so it's better in snow and rain. Basically, it reduces it discards any reading below about 200 meters, so that the short range reflections from raindrops and snowflakes don't bother it, so it's quite effective. This is the volume of the little beeps that go, and then you can adjust the brightness of the heads-up display as well. That's not the screen, that's the heads-up display. The screen is always backlit. Every time the button is pushed, it's backlit. It draws almost no power with the LED backlighting, so they just backlight it all the time, so there's no separate button for backlighting. The menu goes through. You can set minimum ranges, so if you want to ensure you're getting them in a certain speed zone, if the speed zone changes at 250 meters away from you or something, you can set a minimum range. This is the ECCM, is the anti-countermeasures, which is the anti-jamming, so I can turn that off. Normally you'd leave it on, but for testing sometimes you need to turn it off. Direction filter, so you can tell the gun you only want it to get cars approaching. Right now the default is both, or I can get it in recede, which is cars going away, or I can get it in approach, cars coming towards me. I can also get differential distance, which is typically not used for, it's used for tailgating and stuff. And then load defaults. You can go through previous speeds, you can do time over distance, which is basically just a stopwatch, and you can also set a maximum range again for if the speed zone changes, you want to make sure you're getting them in the speed zone that you need to get them in. And the gun goes, after about 2 minutes, it goes into a sleep mode, and after about half an hour it turns itself off, and then you just pull the trigger again, and if it's off, it'll go through its self-test. If it's in 2 minute sleep, then it just wakes itself up and you're ready to go with the gun push. So that is pretty much the Dragon Eye Speed Laser, the standard version. The box also comes with a quick reference card, just to give you, because nobody reads books of instructions anymore, so here's your quick reference card that tells you the basics. And if you do want to read all the instructions, they come on a CD, so you can print off as many copies as you like, or save that for later. So if you have any questions, you can contact us at the information on the screen, and thank you for your time.